To create our project, we used React, Material UI, Axios, Node.js, Koa.js, MariaDB, and the Discogs and Last.fm APIs. Discogs is a large, user-maintained music database and marketplace that keeps a detailed account of a user's collection of physical music releases. It is very popular among the vinyl collecting community for its ease of use and vast database of rich information. Last.fm is a music tracking service that allows users to scrabble or log plays of whatever they are listening to using software that runs in the background on their device. Provides detailed statistics about a user's listening history and can make recommendations based on it. While both of these services are popular among music collectors, there is unfortunately no easy way to scrabble songs played on physical media like vinyl, since there is no supported software that runs on the setups that play it. We integrated the Discogs and Last.fm APIs, as well as our own database, to enable users to scrabble those listens quickly and easily, and provided other useful features that use data from both services.
Now for a quick demo of GroovePal in action. First, we'll create a new account. Click the Sign Up button and enter your information. We store all passwords as hash values for improved security. Now that we've successfully created an account, we can use it to log in. The first time you log into GroovePal, it'll notify you that you have nothing in your collection, and that your Discogs account isn't linked. You'll have to go to Settings to set these up. First, we'll link our Discogs account, which will take us to our Discogs profile. We'll click Authorize, and we'll see that the authentication was complete. This will be reflected in our UI. Next, we'll do the same for Last.fm. It'll take us to our Last.fm account, in which we can allow access, and the same thing. And now, both of our accounts are linked to our GroovePal account. Now we can go to the collection view and see that our collection has successfully pulled from Discogs. You can hover over an album to see its title and artist name. You can also search by artist or title. Clicking on an album will bring you to the play page. The album's metadata, such as title, artist, tags, and track lists, are pulled from Discogs. To scrabble an album, search for it in the collection view and select it to pull up the play view. Then, start your record and press the scrabble button when the music starts. When a song finishes, it'll show a check mark to indicate that it has successfully logged a play to your Last.fm profile. The next song will automatically start logging. For vinyl, an album's track list is separated into sides. When the first side completes, GroovePal will automatically stop scrabbling and wait for you until you start the next side. Repeat this process for all sides and discs of an album. When the last side finishes, it will indicate that you've completed the album. Congrats, you've just scrabbled an album with GroovePal. All plays scrabbled with GroovePal are also stored in our local database, which enables us to show you statistics specific to your vinyl listening history. If we navigate to the home page, you can see that we show a history of all scrabbles made through GroovePal, along with your top 3 albums and artists. Clicking any album art will take you to the play page for that album. Clicking on an artist name can also take you to the collection view and show the albums for the artist.
Now that you've seen how GroovePal works, I'll explain what's happening behind the scenes. GroovePal can be broken up into 5 components. We rely on 2 external services, Discogs and Last.fm. Discogs is what we use to get a user's vinyl collection, as well as the metadata for those vinyl releases. This includes things like the track list, which contains song names and durations, as well as cover art. Last.fm is where we're pushing logged songs to, also called scrabbles. The GroovePal API serves both data from our application database as well as proxying requests to external services, since both Last.fm and Discogs require authentication to make requests. This also makes it easier to grab user-specific data, since each GroovePal account is linked to a Last.fm and Discogs account. The application database holds both credentials for local users as well as the credentials for external services, which get generated with OAuth. We also store a local copy of the scrabbling data. The reason for this is that Last.fm doesn't distinguish between how songs are logged, so when generating user dashboards with things like most played album and artist, as well as recent scrabbles, we only want to show data that was logged via GroovePal. The final component is the client. This is the web UI that the user interacts with. OAuth is the method we're utilizing to generate credentials for external services, as well as associating a user's GroovePal account with their respective Last.fm and Discogs account. from the setting page, an initial request is made to both services to get a valid OAuth URL. This is an endpoint hosted by the external service. When a user clicks the button for a service, they're taken directly to that service's login form and prompted to approve access for GroovePal. Upon logging into these services, the user is then redirected back to the callback endpoint, which is hosted by the GroovePal API. This is where the credentials are posted and consumed, then stored in the application database for later use. Finally, when the process is successful, feedback is given to the user that credentials were generated and stored in the database with a checkmark next to the service name in the UI. The process of scrobbling an album via GroovePal begins with the user clicking to start scrobbling from the album play page. This will start the process for the first side, which includes reformatting the release data that was retrieved from Discogs into a format that Last.fm can consume. So for each track on a side, we generate an object containing the artist name, the album name, the song name, and a UTC timestamp that gets generated at the time a user starts scrobbling, plus the offset of the track and previously played tracks. This way, the data reflected on Last.fm is consistent. The way in which we simulate playback is with an async await loop, and set timeout is based off the duration of the track converted to milliseconds. Once a track finishes its simulated playback, it is logged to both Last.fm, and a copy of the scrobble is stored in our local database. The next track is started, and this process continues until all tracks on a side have completed their playback. Once a side is finished, the user is then able to begin simulating the playback of the next side if it exists. This can continue until the entire album has been scrobbled.